Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. We are now back in our normal routine of product live streams, and this is one that's landed with us. We've just got a load of these back in, and people have been asking about the H series for a while, so we thought we'd definitely bring this out because it is absolutely stunning. It's got some amazing bits with the Aster, the MOSFET that's inside it, and it looks really, really cool. We'll sit in any player type as well, so if you want to run Assault, I mean, you could probably run this in CQB. It is a little bit chunky, but it also can be a very easily to put together DMR as well. So we'll go through it. I'll talk about the Aster shortly. We'll go through its features. If you've got anything you want us to touch on, any questions at all, drop them down below, and we will get the answer to you as quickly as possible. So this is the Specna Arms H22 EDGE 2.0. So there's a lot of information there in the title. So the H series has been very, very popular for a while now. The Edge series has been popular. The Edge 2.0 is going from an ex-ASR into a full-blown Aster, which is one step down from having a Gate Titan pre-installed in there. So the Aster in here is very, very cool. So we'll go from front to back and then delve into the MOSFET. As standard with most AEGs and all Specna Arms, it is a 40mm counterclockwise thread on the front, so any of your accessories will drop on the front of there, your Spitfires, absolutely anything. You can make this thing look very, very cool. We then have quite a unique style of rail system here. You wouldn't be wrong to think that this is M-LOK. Unfortunately, it is not. These square spacings are much, much larger than standard M-LOK. This takes a proprietary style rail system. So each of these holes here are actually screw slots. So if you're wanting to put rail on here, you need to screw them into there. Unfortunately, M-LOK is, it's just not, it's not going to fit in there, unfortunately. You can get these rail sections, and it just allows you to put accessories exactly where you want them and not just clutter it up with rail or anything like that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, so a total of 4 QD points on the rail system alone. So we've got 2 at the front and 2 at the back of the rail. The ones at the front are sort of slightly raised higher on sort of a 45-degree angle, and then we have a standard sling point at the back. Again, you can single point, double point. There's loads of options with this, and you even have sling points on the back if you want to use a strap style sling. A simple fixed front pin sight and then a rotary style rear sight allows you a small amount of adjustment when it comes to just running this bare bones out the box. To be honest, you're most likely going to put a dot sight, even a short dot on this, just for looks and ease of use. Underneath the rail, there is a metal outer barrel, and inside there we do have a 6.03mm tight bore barrel that is 363mm in length. So again, it's tight bore, it's going to be accurate, it's going to reach out. It is an absolute workhorse, indoors and outdoors, this thing. Comes out of the box about 324 FPS, so sitting at that sort of nice golden mark that I quite like. The 330 FPS is sort of my go-to ballpark. If you want to chase that FPS, it's totally fine. Just be aware you're going to put weak links down the chain. If you're wanting to do DMR, again, it does have the Orion Gearbox in here, so it is a quick change spring, and I'll come on to how the Aster will help with that later as well. So, the receiver itself, Paul Eastwood, does it come in a smaller carbine version? So, the H22 is this setup. The H series is the sort of vague look. If you want to look at maybe the H20 or something like that, they're the different versions. So this is the H22. We've had the H20 before, again, which is a much more compact version, and I think they have made a PBTV version that has a skeletal stock as well. So again, this is just the one that we've brought out because it is the Edge 2.0, the MOSFET that's in here, everything like that. So the H series has this sort of aesthetic to it. There are many different versions. There isn't a H22 that is short. You'll have to look for a different number after the H. So look at the H20 is probably your best bet. So coming to the receiver and the controls. Mag release on the right hand side, fire control on the left, and we do have a functional bolt paddle on this. So if we do rack it back, you will find a rotary style hop in here, making it very, very stable, very easy to set, and it does hold back, making it quite easy to set that hop. Pressing the little paddle drops the bolt forward and you're good to go. What is the FPS on these, Kevin, on YouTube? So this particular one is coming out about 324 FPS on 0.2s. Again, that's going to change depending on various things. each individual platform might have a slight variance between like a few FPS. And again, if you were to go to a H20 or one of the other models, it'll have a slightly shorter inner barrel. Again, there might be some that have longer inner barrels, so that will change. But this model is going to be around 325 FPS. So, speaking of magazines, so it does come with the Specna Arms mid-caps, and it does come with 2 of them. So these are 125 round mid-cap magazines. It does come with 2 out of the box, which is excellent. And again, mid-caps, personally, absolutely love them. Reloading is a lot of fun in-game. It adds a little bit of risk factor and a little bit more to your game. Again, if you're just starting out, high caps totally fine. There's nothing wrong with high caps, whatever anyone says. If you're just starting out and you're grabbing one of these on a budget, grab yourself a high cap. You've got 2 spare mags then, and you are good to go. So when we come to we've got the bladed trigger and the fire controls. Even in safe, you can see that the trigger still pulls exactly the same as if it's in fire. That's because the Aster in here is an optical style system. So programmable, you can change all sorts in there. I'll cover a few features and then we'll delve into the card and some other bits. So we do have a very large club style stock. The actual button to adjust it is actually down here. Normally they're up on the top. You press it at the back and it slides either way. The little knurled section here is a little bit of an indicator with a lot of Specna Arms whether or not it is a quick change spring, and this one is because it is the Orion Gearbox. When it comes to battery space, extremely easy to get into. You simply rotate the end of the stock, that will click off, and you'll be able to get to the battery compartment. Plenty of space in there. It's almost like a you'll be able to fit nunchucks and everything. You've got 3 different compartments in here, and then again, just click it shut. With this having a GATE Aster in here, it does mean it is wired to Deans. You do have some micro wire and then a Deans connector. So if you don't have Deans already, don't worry, and you're thinking of getting one, it does come with an adapter in the box to go from a Tamiya to a Deans battery. It's just so that you can get into it if you've already had a few AEGs or anything before and you have batteries already, you don't have to worry about budgeting for extra Deans batteries. You can still run it as is, but it's just down the line, it gives you an opportunity to then change it. Speaking of the Aster, where that Deans connector is attached to, you do get a little card in the box as well that shows you the trigger functions, how to get into the settings and everything like that. And then on the back, there is a massive list of different things. You're not going to be able to read it on there, but you basically have a fire mode, a burst mode, battery protection, active braking, and all sorts of things on there. All of it is controlled or controllable through the trigger. So again, like I was saying earlier, this can sit in a couple of different platforms. You can be an assault player, a DMR player. So the trigger system on here has loads of options. Currently, it's set in safe, semi, and full auto. You can have safe, semi, burst. You can have semi, binary. You can do all sorts. You can even have safe, semi. So you can lock this electronically to semi-auto, meaning that you can run this as DMR. Having that binary trigger on here as well, if people haven't seen binary triggers when we've touched on like the Golden Eagle or other things like that, basically a BB will fire and then it'll fire and it fires and it fires. So it fires when you pull it and it fires when you release the trigger. Obviously, it's very, very close to full auto. Some places allow it, some places don't when it comes to CQB. But what I think it does is rather than having a full auto setting, having a binary trigger allows you to control that rate of fire a little bit easier and you're not going to burn through that 125 rounds as quick. Is the Mark 18 supposed to have a working bolt catch as well? I got one off you. It's awesome, but the hop slide cover stays open. If it doesn't lock back with a little click, then no. Some do, some don't. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure if the Mark 18 does, but again, it's just one of them ones. If it doesn't click, then it's not meant to, and then pressing it forward, and you can have it slide forward like that. Normally, it's not something that fails or anything like that. So a lot of AEGs just have it hold it yourself and adjust. There's not many platforms that do. I'd be surprised if the E19 is one that's meant to hold open. It's not a massive issue. If not, it's just a thing when you're adjusting your hop. Reaper, what would you run her on? So on this, I'd stick to 7.4 to start with. I mean, it is an Aster, it is optical, but with our power limits, I'd stick to that 7.4. You don't want pre-engagement and everything like that. It is counting the teeth on the gear, but again, the spring itself pushing that piston forward might not be fast enough for it to catch up. If I was running this as a DMR and going up to that 400 FPS, I'd be tempted to run it on 11.1. But if you're under that 350 or that 1.1 joule limit, stick to the 7.4. It's going to prevent any and all problems that could potentially happen with this thing. Sam, what makes the Edge range better than the Core or all the other ones? So the Edge range and the Core, so I think the Core range comes with a mid cap and a high cap, and it also is a standard Orion gearbox. So some of them have the quick change spring, some of them have various other features. The Edge series originally came out with the XASR MOSFET, which was great. It was battery protection, had a load of really cool parts on it. Whereas now the Edge 2.0 have gone to a full-blown Aster MOSFET. So this thing has the battery protection. It's got the anti-polarization protection, so it's going to protect itself in case you have a problem with your battery. And also the MOSFET protects the battery from low voltage. So they're kind of working in tandem with each other, making sure they are both very, very cool. Again, you have an amazing amount of trigger options when it comes to safe, semi, full auto. You've got the binary trigger, you've got burst options on here, and then when you do set it into burst, you can then control the burst option itself. Again, low voltage warning, and rather than having a mid cap and a high cap, the Edge come with two mid caps, and they do have the adapter as well. So some of the Core models are just standard gearboxes, so they are straight onto Tamiya, whereas the Edge, they have even thought about putting the connector in there so you're not stuck when it comes to things like that. A couple of other things about this. Obviously, this one is a very large platform, so we've got the big metal rail, we've got a metal receiver, a big plastic stock, so this thing comes in at about 3 kilos. It's a little bit under, but once it's got some BBs in it, it's probably knocking on the door of 3 kilos. It is a little bit heavy, but again, if you're running this as DMR or as an assault platform, you're not really going to know about it. Paul Eastwood, does it have any sling points? Yes. So on the rail here, you can see a little grey circle there, and at the back, there's matching on this side, so they're the QD sling points. At the back, we do have a full sling plate that's got 2 points on the left-hand side and 1 on the right. And actually, these parts on the stock are actually sling points, but specifically for strap-style slings. So you could put a strap through there, QD it on the front. You could 2-point it with things on the back. You could single-point it here. So you've got absolutely everything, every option that you want on there as well. But yeah. Adam, I have a Mark 18 Daniel Defense 2.0, and the bolt catch doesn't and isn't supposed to hold open. Thank you very much. The community helping itself right there. So that is the E19 2.0. Whoever asked earlier, when you do pull the charging handle back, it does not lock open. That's from someone who's got one themselves. Thank you very much for that. So I'll quickly cover a few of its features again for those that have just joined us. So we do have a 40mm counterclockwise thread on the front, so we can have any accessories we want. Fixed front iron sight and a rotary rear sight, just in case you are running this as is. But with the style of platform this is, you're probably running a dot, a magnifier, maybe even a short dot. The rail section, most of you would look at this and think, is that M-LOK? Unfortunately, it is not. It's a very specific style of rail. And the little holes that are in here are screw slots that you would screw little rail sections into, allowing you to mount accessories. Again, if you've got any M-LOK parts, any keyboard parts, they're not going to fit on this. Unfortunately, these square bits are very, very wide and large, and M-LOK bits are just going to fall out. Controls, it is right-handed dominant, so we've got a mag release on the right-hand side, fire controls on the left. It comes with 2 125 round mid caps, meaning you are good to go out the box. Also in the box, you will find the Aster programming card showing you how to get into the settings and then what all the settings do. It's going to be very hard to see a white card like that. But again, it lets you set your fire options from safe, semi to full auto. You've got binary on there, you've got burst on there, and you can even set it to safe, semi, semi. So if you wanted to run this as a DMR, throw a short dot, pec box, a big can on the front, you are good to go. Reaper, I have an E21 Edge. And she is better on a LiPo. Yes, I would definitely run this on a LiPo. With it being a MOSFET, the power transfer and everything like that is much, much nicer. But again, if you are wanting to run this as an AEG on full auto, please stick to a 7.4 if you're staying under 350. If you're wanting to lock this to semi with the Aster and pump it up to that beyond 350, going up to 400 FPS, I'd be tempted to drop an 11.1 in it, but it's just having that power to be able to push that piston forward fast enough. Can you get this in GBB? Not from Specna Arms. Specna Arms is AEG only. There probably are GBB versions of something like this out there, but this unfortunately is not available in GBB, unfortunately. But yeah, really happy to get these back in. People have been asking about H20 for a while. This is the H22, and again, that is just a different model number. So all the H series are very, very similar. Again, there's H Core, there's H Edge, and there's H 2.0. So we try and put as much information as we can on the items. So if you do have any questions, please reach out, get in touch with us, send us a message on Instagram. We're happy to answer any questions that you have whenever possible to make sure you get exactly what you're after. But this thing is stunning. If you're after one, I'd definitely jump on it now. It is in black and tan. There are tan variants available as well if you wanted to go down a different route. But this is the Specna Arms H22. If you want one, definitely grab one. But if that's everything for today, we'll be back on Friday. As always, if there's something you want us to talk about, drop us a message on Instagram. You'll get through to me and I'll add it to the top of the list. But yeah, good to be back onto our normal live streams, and we'll be leading up to Christmas with loads of things. So if you are looking for something for Christmas and you want us to talk about it a bit more, again, drop us a message and we'll do a video on it so you can get a load of really cool information. But if that's everything, I'll catch you in a bit.